I'm Brittany Trochet.
And I'm Tena Parker. And we are
Uniting Artists, here to collaborate, educate, and elevate. Let's talk all things film industry.
Let's do it. Join us on our journey as we highlight a uniting artist.
Thank you for tuning in. You're listening to the Uniting Artists podcast, where we connect and collaborate with film professionals while educating and elevating the future of the industry. We're here to unite and celebrate all things film community. So welcome. Thank you. I'm Brittany.
I'm Tena.
And I'm Bunny.
And today we are doing our Set Friends segment with iconic film hairstylist and mama to Tena Parker, Bunny Parker. So welcome. Thank you, Bunny.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get into her interview, though, I want to quiz Tena a couple things about your career and see if she lands the mark. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay. Tena, first question.
This is like the wedding game.
Yes, it is. It is like the wedding game. Okay. What was the most rewarding thing of your mom's career?
Most rewarding to me or her?
To her, as if you were speaking from her eyes, her mind, her voice.
I got to say it was when her mother recognized what she had been doing, because they didn't understand what she was doing career-wise and almost chastised her for like abandoning her children, which she did not do. And so when she finally won an Emmy, suddenly it was okay for what she was doing. Am I right?
Right. But that's not what I mean. Oh. It's okay. I forgot that one.
So close. But she did mention the award, so I want to say that she gets at least half a point for that. She said, of course, her nominations and her wins, but repeated requests for film work from the specific actors and producers and directors, that's what kept her working for 40 years. And that has something to say about who you are and the quality of work that you can do for producers.
It's true. We were talking about that last night.
Cool.
Where?
Awesome. Okay, Tena, what is the most challenging part of her career?
Not being with her children. And the locations were very hard as well. So packing up, and it's just very laborious and having to manifest everything. Oh no, what are you trying to give me a hint? She's trying to cheat. I think it was really hard. Also just taking care of herself, because we're such nurturers and we take care of everybody else, and we mask to make sure that everybody gets out of the trailer in a good way.
I really do think that that's who we are at our core, 100%. But she actually was talking about the challenge of breaking down a script and how important that was. She said that it was so important that she remembered one time when she was breaking down a certain script, it was so confusing that even the makeup, costumes, ADs, everybody was going off of her breakdowns, even her scripts, everything. So, so many back and forth, but
True that.
And this just shows you how big our umbrella of film really is, because there really could be so many right answers to a lot of these questions.
Yeah.
It's true.
Okay, Tena, has Bunny ever wanted to own her own brand or product line? If so, what would it be and what would she call it?
I know what this one is. She's grabbing my hand. She's cheating. She's like, remember this one. Remember this one. She talked about having, because she has a special way of blending out lace, especially when it starts losing color. But she literally has an amazing wig kit that she would have wanted to brand and put together. Yeah. And we have a terminology that we both understand. It's called a mishmash.
Yep.
What are you going to do? Just a little mishmash. And so I know her wig kit, and that she had everything in it, from an emergency for whatever your actor wanted. She's cheating. She's cheating again. Brittany, she cheats.
Not really. Encouraging.
Yeah. But I do know in her continuity, what was this, Mom, book? Oh yeah, her book that we're going to all do. We're going to do the 3 generations of hairstylists in film, because we got you, Brittany. You're like 18 or 19 years younger than me. Then we've got me, and then Mom, of course. So we've got 3 generations of information on working in the film industry. So her book definitely is another thing she wanted to do.
Yep. And lucky for everybody, that's on top 3. So we'll be doing that pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. That was a hard win for Tena, for sure. It's great.
Ding, ding.
She cheated. She talked about this last night. See how she is? You asked. She just wants me to win. That's all.
Yeah. She set you up to win.
So I got a half a point or 2 points out of how many? We got to start this grading system.
I know, right? I think it was 4 points. But I think you got maybe half of them.
I get a participation trophy. Yeah. Okay. Well, those of you that do not know the name Bunny Parker, she's quite an icon in our industry. She started her career as, I think you were 21 when you got your license.
Yeah.
And then after she had me, she was working at the salon and she got an opportunity to work in film by actually auditioning as a dancer for a movie of the week type thing.
Extra.
Yeah. And you got called back and they're like, hey, you're cast. And mom's like, I can't do this. I have a full clientele at a salon. They're like, hey, you're a hairstylist? This is about pageants. We need you. Would you come work for us? So that was her first break. And that was in the 70s, Mom, 1973?
Yeah. I don't remember when.
I was in third grade. So about that. And since then, I'm looking at pages and pages of her IMDb of all the movies she's done, well over 60. Her top 12 we went through last night are Armageddon, Fifth Element, The Jackal. We'll talk about that later. That was crazy. A River Runs Through It, which was my first movie. I got to be her key. Indecent Proposal.
Second department head.
Yeah. Brittany and I have talked about that too. There's no key position in it. Indecent Proposal.
Where I met BW.
Yep. Legend of Beggar Vance. The Natural. Hidalgo, which ended up being a 6-month movie.
Yeah, Morocco.
Huge. Yeah. Crash. I've got the
Academy Award.
I've got your shirt from that. She gives me and my brother the jackets and shirts, the swag. Quiz Show. Redford requested her on that and she went back east for that. My Sister's Keeper, which was her last movie that I got to also be her first assistant department head. And then Brothers. So those are like her top 12 as well as nominations and awards. You want to tell us which ones?
So many.
I was nominated 4 times for an Emmy, and one of those I won on. It was a Spielberg's television series I was doing called Amazing Stories, and I turned a little dwarf into a tumbleweed. But going on, then I also won a craft award, which I was totally shocked. And the actor I was working with on the show, unbeknownst to me, was the one that presented me with it. And I was so excited.
Yeah.
And then
I think they call those the Guild Awards now.
Guild
Or
Awards
union,
now,
yeah.
Craft Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be like the Director's Award or whatever.
Yeah.
And then what else was there?
I don't know. You got multiple
Oh,
nominations.
I got a nomination for last year for Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
I did not win. Ruby won, and I was so happy for her.
Yeah.
Oh,
Of course, my kids always.
We cheer on. Yeah. I hadn't even realized that there were so many until we started looking into this. I'm like, wow, she had a lot of nominations.
yeah.
Just mom. She was just doing her thing, you know?
I just
Yep.
worked all the time, had to support my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love that.
So should I start with the questions?
Yeah.
So we've got 20 questions. We'll see what we can get through. Number 1, who inspired you in your career?
I don't think there was anyone really. I mean, I was always interested in movies. And so when I got the chance to be in a movie, it was later in that movie that I got to know about hair. I got to be behind camera, and that did it for me.
Cool.
Sweet. Well, Bunny, I would love to know what's your specialty?
I would say, man, wigs, period. Being able to really break down a script and get those recalls back from actors and producers and directors. I mean, that's a wonderful thing to pick up the phone and say, would you like to work for us again? Yes.
Very cool. Okay, next question. What specialty do you wish you had in your back pocket now?
Well, since I'm retired, there's not anything that I wish in my back pocket. Although at the time, I wish I'd known more about dealing with texture hair. You know, if it was already straightened, I was fine with that. And I could straighten it, but I was not as, like certain braiding techniques and things like that I had difficulty with. I never had time to go to school and learn. I don't know if my fingers would have let me anyway.
Well, and even then, there's so much that we could just keep digging through to have ongoing education. So I feel like there really hasn't been a whole lot of specialty classes for that up until about like the last 5 or 6 years. So finally turning a corner, we're celebrating all textures, which I'm so excited because it is really important to know all the things. But that's a fun one. I love that.
It's the same thing as I had to learn what a stove and irons were. And, I had to teach myself basically. And I did. It worked out well.
They taught us at Pasadena City College, is where I finished up my cosmetology school. And they had some great instructors there. And we did learn marcelling and painting. And
we didn't learn any more selling. In fact, when I started, we were still doing pin curls and roller sets.
Aw.
And I was really awesome at it. That's why I'm good at wigs.
I love that. So, besides landing a part as a dancer in a movie, what was it, that one thing or that aha moment that you're like, yep, I want to get started in the film industry?
Well, I got a call off of that one movie. Someone requested me to do the Osmonds' first film in Utah, which I did.
Oh, yeah.
From there, I went to another request for Chic Sun Classic. And, then I went down to Hollywood and walked in on the set. It was all good.
I remember I have a picture somewhere with Jimmy Osmond, and I showed a friend, and she goes, who are the two boys? I'm like, that was me. Because I had my little pixie cut back then. I must have been about 11 or something.
How cute.
Adventures of the Great Brain, I think, was the movie.
Oh, I love that.
First time I ever broke a script down, I did it. If you need something, want something bad enough, you do it.
And that was in Utah.
I love that.
Isn't that cool? Chic Sun Classics, she worked a lot with too.
Yeah, some of his kiddos, they were in the punk rock scene. So I kind of grew up with them, going to the same local punk rock shows back in the day. So I didn't work with them in film, but yeah, got to see him there. So, and celebrate him there.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, full circle, right?
Yeah, crazy.
All right, next question. What was your formulation for keeping your work-life balance as a single mom and building a career?
Family and friends and having a nanny or a cook, or, think ahead, cook your meals ahead of time, plan their strategies for what they're doing after school, take them with me sometimes. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of guilt.
I have that same guilt, definitely.
I know, but we are really not meant for the 9 to 5 behind an office, though. Let's be honest.
I was telling Tina when I was managing a salon years ago in Idaho before I got into business, is I'd look out the window and I'd see the lake and I'd see people outside and I go, I don't want to be stuck in this building. God listened to me. I was outside a lot.
So when did you actually start doing hair? When was that?
I think I was about 9 years old.
Wow.
I had an older stepsister and she worked in a department store and I used to set her hair in pin curls for the 50s look, She had a short, and I'd pin curl all around the edges and the back was flat. Then I'd comb it out for her perfectly. Probably because, I was going to the movies for 50 cents or a quarter at that time. And I always noticed all the hair.
Brittany and I were prepping the wigs for the photo shoot that's coming up. And we were talking about the Barbie doll heads, right?
Yeah, I miss those. Just those shoulder pieces with, what a core memory for me. One of my first practice dolls, that's for sure.
Yeah, that was my only and fun Barbie I had too.
I practiced on you.
Yeah, it's true. Oh my gosh. Wait, yeah, when you see my childhood pictures, I had adult hairstyles on.
She had the artichoke,
petal curls, pixie, permed, always, yeah. Okay, you ready for the next question? What traits do you think are needed to be in the industry, like listening, building relationships, initiative, not stepping on toes, being punctual? What would you say are the top ones for you?
Oh, gosh.
Best traits that are needed.
Yes, it's being true to yourself, be kind, listen, be ready for anything, anytime, anywhere. And you always have to allow yourself time to get to work, and look professional too. It's gone by the wayside. Nobody does their hair. I mean, when I started out, I was wearing high heels, and dresses and full makeup and hair every time. And I think they might appreciate it. I mean, if you look at someone and they look, they're a pretty person, but maybe they don't take care of themselves mentally, spiritually, they can tell. And I think it's a good thing to set the mood for when you walk into that trailer.
Yeah, put a little intention behind it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Your brand.
In fact, I had a magazine and a picture of me in an interview they did with me. And I put it in my little resume that I made in the beginning when I went to Universal. And one of the producers that hired me for a show, he says, well, we were in the office together. I had my red dress on. Yeah. And he said, when actors come into the room, I says, here, let me stop you right here. If you would have looked at my resume, you would have seen an article in the magazine. And I backtalked him. I got the job.
Good. Backbone and all. I love it.
Don't let those men take over.
No. So I have a question for you, Bunny. As you're paid for your time, what would you suggest that someone does with their idle time, as our industry can be more of a hurry up and wait kind of job description?
That's true. There's always continuity catch up, script revisions, continuity, resetting a wig, organizing your tools and things, clean up your station.
Wrapping bobby pins.
Yes. I mean, even calling for help for the next day. There's phone calls you have to make, even if it's a doctor's appointment. I mean, we have to combine it all. I mean, I can't say that I did not read on the set because I did.
Right.
And you had hours to wait, and you were caught up with your work.
That's great.
Tina does cartwheels.
True that. But yeah, and or if you don't see what needs to be done, you can ask the boss or, say, is there something?
Anything I can do to help you.
Yeah, anything to make your life easier and let's get this done. Yeah. Ready for the next question? How did you break down a script and or do continuity?
Oh, I started with a script and a big table and a tablet and a couple pens and highlighters and a marquee. And I would go and I would start reading. I'd read the script first and I'd go back and I'd start making my day out of days, was it day? Was it night? Was it flash forward, flashback, all of that. And as I would do it, I'd make marks on my script. I might even mark the day out of days in my script so they'd be easy to find. I can't tell you how many times a director has popped in to talk to an actor when I'm doing their hair and say, oh, do you have a script here? Because you want to discuss something. Give them my script. It's all broke down. They can find what they need and they're amazed. And they remember those things. So then, you think about, is it day or is it night? Is it raining? Does it need a stunt double, a photo double? Just all of those things. And you make those notes and you make it on a piece of paper too, so you can transfer them or whatever. Then you can start thinking about the design after that and your research and all of that. But you got to break the script down first.
I remember you telling me that when you started, you didn't have money or you didn't have a Polaroid camera.
Yeah.
So what did you do?
When I started for Chic Sun Classic, way back when, I didn't know about continuity, number one. And I saw a girl that I was working for. She had a Polaroid camera. Well, she took it with her everywhere. She didn't leave it with me. So I had to watch the set. And she says, watch, blah, 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 if the hair changes. So I would draw a picture of how the hair was for a certain scene. And if there were changes, I'd draw that too. But now we have cameras,
Yeah, and we're spatial creatures. We've got to see the art in it. And yeah, that's how we paint, right? First of all.
And for me, if I went through a script enough, it was all up here.
Yeah.
I love it.
So how did you get into the union?
Well, I worked for Chic Sun Classic in Utah for a couple of years, and I did movies of the week, and I did a little TV series, that sort of thing. And I would ask for the actors for a picture, and they'd sign it to Bunny. You did a wonderful job, or recommendations or whatever. And I put together, and I had a couple photos from the newspapers or whatever, and I put those in. I didn't know what a resume was. We didn't have Google. And then I got it together, put it in a booklet, and I walked in on the back lot through a side door, side gate, at Universal Studios, and I asked them where the makeup department was. Up this big steep hill. I went up there. I asked, and I did some research. I called someone and asked him who was the head of the makeup department that did the hiring at Universal, and they gave me his name. And so I went up and I asked for this person. I don't think I need to name names. And the secretary said, just a minute. So she opened the door. He saw me. He wasn't doing anything, evidently. So he invited me in and I showed him my resume. We talked a while about what I did, blah, 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 and tried to act really professional. And he showed me a stack of resumes on his desk and said, I'll take it. It'll go on top of that. I went home. I thanked him. I went home and I wrote him a thank you note. Thank you for seeing me without an appointment, blah, blah, blah. But I will be working there someday. Hope to see you then. Bunny. Next week, I was working on a series at Universal Studios.
Yeah. Now, when I was staying with her in Burbank, I remember she had this red linen dress.
Yeah.
It's just a classy, chic dress. That was her interview dress. She always had her red dress on. But my mom walked onto Universal Studios with a 3-ring binder, pictures from what she had done the last couple of years, and just having the no fear attitude
And the
chutzpah. Yeah, just literally, she just knew what she wanted and she was going to go after it.
Yeah, no, it's a great power color for sure. Own your power, get what you want.
Years before that, I did a list. I read a book and it says, when you want something, you have to say the first steps, second steps, third, down to 10 steps. What are the first steps to get to that goal on number 10? So I was doing that and practicing that. And that really helped to focus and know what you need to do.
I think that's great advice, having your mindset and knowing how to get there and baby steps or whatever it is.
Well, I think having the talent and, knowing how to do hair helped, of course, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great way to stay laser focused and refine the pragmatic way to get through it. I love that.
And so you got in the union from Sheriff Lobo, was it?
I was on a television series called Sheriff Lobo. It only ran 2 years and we had an actor's strike and he called me back for the next year. But I had to get so many days within a year and a half. It was 110 days or something, working days on a union film. I also worked on a few helping out on union films too. Anyway, when I got my 110th day, I think it was, Claude Akins brought out a big cake, and I have a picture of us, a Polaroid. He said, congratulations on getting into the union. I wasn't in the union, but I completed. Then I had to take a test. We had to take a test in those days. So I prepared for the test, scared to death, and was so happy I passed it. Yeah. And then I was a group 3. And then eventually I got up to a group 1.
Which is basically a journeyman status.
Yeah, Universal used to call me every week. I don't know. There's still a lot of people on the list. You may not make it in. In fact, I think on the last day that I was going to get my days, he called me and said, there's someone on the list. You can't come in. And when Claude said, I'll see you tomorrow, I said, I won't be here. He threw a fit. He was responsible for me being there the next day. He called Nick. He called the producers. He really had my back, as a lot of actors throughout my life did. And so I came in as a second that day, and the head hairstylist suddenly got very sick and had to go home. So I took over as first, got my days.
That's awesome. I worked with Claude in Utah. Full
Did
circle
you?
again. Yeah, it was T.C. Christensen's first movie I worked with him on in Utah. And Claude would serve everybody their lunch or dinner. He would not sit down until he literally got behind where they were serving our lunch or dinner. And he served everybody before he would sit down.
He had cancer when he was working in his later years and had a stomy bag. And I think that's what they call it. But also, he had to know everyone's birthday. And if you did not tell him your birthday, he would find out anyway. And you get a bucket of water on your head. Otherwise, you got a birthday cake on the day of your birthday.
Yeah, Claude Atkins was a class act for sure.
Nice man.
I'm glad I got to work with him too. Next question, Mama San. As you traveled a lot in your career, do you have any tips on packing your kit?
Get help. Unless you're doing just one actor and you can pretty much handle that. But I can tell you on so many movies that I traveled in Morocco and Mexico and Canada. And if I was doing a whole show, I had cases with wigs and everything in them. And sometimes if you're on the set and you're getting your actors right, you don't have time to back up to go to the next town or country or whatever, So sometimes I talk the producers into letting me hire someone to come in and pack up my trailer.
Yeah, that's a gift. Raisa Patton has helped me with that before too.
Me too.
She's really organized. Wait till you see Miss Brittany's kit. She is the queen of knowing how to pack a kit and have everything and then some.
Well, I was always on the search for cases and I found the greatest cases. I passed them on to Tena, in fact, when I retired. But they're great big foam covered in non-rip material with zippers. They're big and you can put dividers in them. It's what the camera people uses too. And also those hard cases that the camera, go to a camera store. They got all kinds of bags.
Yeah, it'll really protect your stuff too.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. Thomas, actually, my husband, he got a bug bite this morning and he was like, oh, what is this? And I had some baking soda. I was like, wait, I have something better. So I went to my makeup kit and I grabbed like a little bug bite zapper. You got to think of everything, especially when you're dealing with the elements.
Yes.
When I was doing Bagger Vans, I had my beekeeper suit, the net.
Yeah, I've got one of the, yep.
The legs, everything. And come sundown, I ran back and put it on. We were shooting on a golf course and everyone was laughing at me. I tell you what, once that sun started going down, the cameramen took their T-shirts off and their shirts and wrapped them around their heads. It was horrible. But the next day, they all had what I had.
And I now have it.
And Tina, I have it. Gave it to Tina.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, Bunny, what is one of your most memorable days in your career and why?
Oh, I know I wrote this down. I'm getting old. I suppose winning my Emmys, my trophies, you call them, but just knowing that I could help my children and my children were proud of me and I was proud of them and just being where I was at the time and being myself.
I love it.
What are your biggest values or words to live by?
Again, be ready for anything, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah. And to thine own self be true.
And to thine own self, just be yourself.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what's your formula for not burning out.
Spa days with my daughter, any kind of spa days or massages, being able to afford someone to clean your house when you come home from location. And then there's golf. Love that.
That work-life balance, always a challenge.
Yep. Massages are key. If I ever win an award, I'm going to thank my massage therapist first.
There you go.
I mean, my husband, yes, my husband and my massage therapist, those are the top two for sure.
Definitely. I agree to that. So because we're 3 generations here, so we've all kind of gone through different ways of doing this, but how did you do research on period films?
Oh, well, we didn't have Google back in the day, on computers even. I would go to antique stores, secondhand stores, libraries. Later on, I was able to copy pages out of books in the library, but I would find old time magazines, Modern Screen from the 50s, Life magazines, and yearbooks. Yearbooks, whatever state I was in, I'd pick up a yearbook. When I retired, I had boxes and boxes of research that I donated to our union because they had a library for their people.
That's fantastic.
Of course, I was living a lot of those ages.
All right. So can you tell us about how your nominations and winning your Emmys, how that all came about for you?
Well, for years, I didn't know about the Emmys for some reason. I mean, I knew they existed, but I didn't know how. I didn't ask. And I found out a little late almost about that you nominated yourself. Who knew? The Craft Award, that was by the union members. And I didn't even know the Lifetime Achievement Award. Since I retired, I didn't keep up on all that. Yeah, they just called me out of the blue one day and said, "Oh, I got some good news for you. You are." And I go, "What?" So that's how that all came about. But yeah, I could have put in a couple other series, before Amazing Stories with Spielberg.
Yeah.
Been some fun things I did.
I'd like to pop in about hairstyles are just recently on the Oscar trail.
Yes, they are.
Hairstyles were not nominated.
And, or like if a makeup person, I won't say man or woman, but if the makeup person didn't put in for an Oscar with their makeup, hair was not included, even though it might have been all about hair. We didn't get that opportunity, hairstylists.
Yeah, like Amadeus, but you did the Jackal. And I remember you saying you had 8 looks on Bruce, 8 photo doubles, 8 stunt doubles, and stand-ins. So you were responsible for all those
bleaching,
looks.
Dyeing, cutting, styling. I had foam heads of BW, and I had to have them wind up on the counter with the hairstyles all colored, cut, ready to go. And he'd come in and he'd go, "Yeah," or,
Yeah, check out the Jackal, y'all.
I remember the first time amazing. I worked with BW on a movie, and I had to give him a 30s haircut where, kind of like a jag haircut. Mm-hmm. And Bruce had scars on the back of his head. So I took my little clippers, and I made them on my stunt double. And that was the first question Bruce asked me. He says, "Have you done the double yet?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." He sounded nice. He says, "Did you get the scars?" So I brought him in and let him look. And he says, "Perfect."
That's important. Those fine details.
Those fine details, color and little nicks. And even when I had his wigs made, he had like a little divot here in front, and I had that made into the wig in the front.
Yeah, you were brilliant. Those pieces looked amazing. Nobody knew.
I love it.
So if you were to win an award today, what would your acceptance speech sound like?
I'd make it short, but, thanking God, putting me where I am, right place, right time, my family for putting up with me. And of course, the people that surrounded me that helped me, whether, like with Miami, there was a production manager who let me hire extra people so I could take thorns off of a sagebrush. Just, wonderful things.
Yeah.
But short, but sweet.
Yeah, I remember you said when you won your Emmy, it was like, thank God. And you're like, no, really, thank God. And everybody laughed.
Angie Dickinson gave me that. And when I walked up, she says, ew, I should have had you doing my hair.
That's awesome.
Tell us what one of your number one songs would be to just pump you up, get you through your hard times, your go-to jam.
I didn't really have any songs, to be honest. At work, usually the makeup people, they put on the music.
What about a phrase or something you'd repeat to yourself to get through it, to put your big girl?
Remind me and say, hair does not win, mother.
That was my motto forever. Hair must not win. I can do this. I will control you. And I was like, yeah, Mom, you taught me that. She goes, I did? I'm like, it's been my work motto. You don't remember? That's what I live by.
Yeah, hair happens and it will not defeat you. You're going to that hair.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
All right. Any advice for any upcoming uniting artist? Anybody that's wanting to get into the field that you're doing? Hair or makeup? Yeah.
Well, I think if it's meant to be, you're in the right spot, the right time, you know the stuff, the right stuff, you're going to make it. Keep on swimming, Nemo. It's hard work. And some people get in easy, maybe an actress requests them out of a beauty salon. And it's funny, I've had producers come in and cut the actress's hair on right before a show doing the test. And they'd whisper me, buddy, please don't do my hair this way, because, the cut may be great, but they don't have a concept of the script or anything. And they would do something modern for an area that was hot and humid, and they weren't into it.
Yeah. I always say, keep your ego in your back pocket. We're all a team, and we all just got to work together. What about you, Brittany? What's your advice?
Really, for those in the industry, I do want to just say there really is enough to go around.
Yes.
Those that are in the industry, there really is enough to go around. Calm down. We're each other's community. It might feel like, feast or famine. So there's a place of competition, but we're really here to protect each other, lift each other up. And I think that that's also what's really beautiful about uniting artists. But for those that want to get into the film industry, I would just say, go get started on some student film projects. Go find some people that recently graduated. Get yourself in there. So,
yeah, Tina went after beauty college. I got sick. I was on a TV series in Mexico, and I said, I'm coming home. You're filling in. And she was just out of school. So a lot of times that sort of thing happens. But even when I didn't have the big films, I would day check to try and give back. And I would do research on whatever film I was going to go in on. If it was period, I wanted to know that period so I could help that hairstylist out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Bunny. Thank you, Tina, for introducing me to your lovely mother. It's been truly an honor. And thank you, listeners, for tuning into the Uniting Artists podcast. We would love for you to also be a Uniting Artist. So sign up on our email list if you haven't already. There'll be a link below to be on our call sheet and to be on a first-to-know basis for updates and more. And then also, if you're not already following us on Instagram, please follow us at Uniting Artist. All the love, all the best. Thank you, everyone.
All the best.
All the love. And we'll be back next week with more. We'll see you then when artists support artists.
Everyone prospers.
Congratulations on what you're doing. It is so needed.
Thank you. And thank you for doing 60 films and sharing just a glimpse of what it was to be a part of your career. It was wonderful hearing from you.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Hey, y'all. Join us next week as we highlight another uniting artist.
And remember, when artists support artists, everyone prospers.